Wow, 40,000. When I was an intern at Tucker Anthony, we had Dow 6,000 shirts made up. That was back in 1996. Jess, thanks very much for that. Coming up, the market, the shares of Alphabet are declining as Apple is said to be closing in on an agreement to use OpenAI's technology on its iPhone. Of course, Google is a big challenger to that, or a competitor to OpenAI. Jess Menton is here with more on this battle. Jess?
Well, looking at Apple's stock, up more than 1% right at the opening bell here. And this is a stock that investors have been watching very closely just because it had one of its worst performances relative to the S&P 500 last quarter since the height of the dot-com bubble bust. So looking at this, Apple's actually nearing this deal to use OpenAI on tech on its iPhone. So, of course, Bloomberg's own Mark Gurman, as well as Julia Love, did report this story exclusively for Bloomberg on the terminal. So the company is closing in on this agreement to use OpenAI's technology on the iPhone. If you look over also for stocks like Apple, moving marginally higher as well just after the opening bell. So the two sides, when you are looking at Apple as well as OpenAI, have been finalizing terms for a pact to use ChatGPT features in Apple's. And you know what, Matt? Guess who else is back? Roaring Kitty. If you look at GameStop shares, GME is the ticker symbol on that. If you look heading into the opening bell here, up 44%. So it's poised to have the kind of last surge last seen during, as you remember, Matt, that meme stock mania in the height of 2021. If you look at already going into this month, that stock was up about 57%. So if you look at today's gain and going into that close, it would actually be on pace to potentially beat its monthly gain back in March of 2021, Matt.
Did you see his tweet? Roaring Kitty is, of course, Keith Gill. He's the main figure in the movie The Big Short, I think it's fair to say. And he'd been off social media for a long time, but he had a tweet that was like a guy leaning forward playing a video game.
That's right. It's showing he's still paying attention to what's happening right now. And I have to say, if you look at AMC, that stock's also up in pre-market trading heading into that. That stock's up about 17%. So not just GME, but other meme stocks as well, Matt.
Little meme stock mania. We could hear the stock market story for some of the sector price action this morning. We go back to Bloomberg's Jess Menton. Jess?
Looking at the S&P 500, sitting just about 0.5% away from its record last reached at the end of March. If you look on a sector basis in the industry groups here, real estate and utilities are the ones that are driving things higher. Of course, utilities has been on a tear, up 14% in the past 19 sessions. If you look at the opposite end of that, communication services, the lone laggard here, down more than 1.5%. A lot of that is driven by the weights when it comes to Alphabet as well as Meta. Of course, don't forget the Dow. It's still marching toward 40,000. It's been 869 trading sessions through Friday since the Dow first crossed 30,000. So looking to see when that could potentially happen. Now, looking at more of some industry groups here beyond just this, the Golden Dragon Index is showing an impressive rise this morning, up about 3% today and up over 9% this month alone. Alibaba is not surprisingly leading the advance here because they do report earnings tomorrow.